Welcome to another episode of SLO Talk Live. James Davis here in the SLO Talk podcasting studio. And our co-host for today, Martha Torkington.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, this is exciting. I want to thank some people. Of course, our streaming engineer, Griffin Bashirs. We so much appreciate all the prep work and all his professionalism and skill that he brings to the table to make this happen. We are live streaming on YouTube and Facebook right now, and of course the SLO Talk website, /SLO Talk Live. And we got some exciting guests coming up here in just a moment. Aaron Steed, CEO, Meathead Movers, and president of Meathead Movers, and then Don Ventura. And of course, Don is the director of marketing and communications. And just a minute, I want to thank a few people for making this possible. Dining for Charities, California Central Coast. We've talked about that several times during this stream. Dining for Charities helps local nonprofits, helps bring in new customers to our restaurant partners. Check them out online, diningforcharities.com. The sponsor for this month, it's really exciting. It's the Veterans Express Shuttle, operated by Ride On Transportation.
Great group.
Yeah, offers veterans all over the county rides to all their medical, dental, vision appointments for, $3 ride, which is really excellent. And then we want to thank Castillo's Carpet Cleaning. A lot of folks get their carpets cleaned just before the holidays. We just had a group with us. Want to get carpets clean after you have folks spend time with you.
Hey, James, I have to say, oh my goodness. You did a great job, right?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Luis Castillo, Castillo's Carpet Cleaning, San Luis Obispo. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram, Yelp, YouTube, all the usual places. So much appreciate those guys. And then we'll thank them a little bit more during our stream. Gosh, guys, I've been looking forward to this. Having in the studio Aaron Steed. And
welcome,
of course, Don, last name Don?
Ventura.
Thank you so much, Don Ventura. And Aaron, CEO, president of Meathead Movers and Storage.
That's right.
The official name, right? And not just
storage.
mini storage, because there's wine and mini. And so we just have storage as a block. And then Don Ventura, director of marketing and communications.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
This is really good. Aaron, I met you before.
Yep.
You were up at our other studio in Atascadero. I think our good friend Abe Lincoln had
That's
you
right.
in. And it whet my appetite. I was only able to hear a part of that. I didn't sit in the whole interview. But you've been a busy guy. And, I'm looking here at some of my cheat sheet and notes. Meathead Movers is celebrating or just celebrated their 25th year of business.
Yeah, it's hard.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's hard to believe, but it happened. Yeah,
That did it happen kind of fast, man?
it really did. And every year goes by faster.
Right. It'll happen again.
Okay, I believe it.
Guaranteed.
I believe it.
So a little bit of momentum, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, we're grateful.
And the new logo, that's fun. I saw the unveiling of that, a new image.
Yeah, Dawn really headed it up. She knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
At first, it was really hard because I was emotionally attached to the old one that Pierre Rademacher did for us, and I love that logo, and I still do.
Yes.
But Dawn put a whole vision team behind it, and the more I look at, the more I really believe that's who we are now and into the future.
It's a great new update, a great fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
But that was fun, Don, huh?
It was so fun, and it was so cool to just see the evolution of the brand.
Right.
We just kind of matured, and it's our 25th year. And Aaron even said we were kind of going from like a pimply teenager brand to like the cool adult brand that we are now.
This is interesting. Which is wine storage is part of that too,
Yeah,
right?
we must grow up, unfortunately. Well, sort of anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Aaron, for some of our viewers, they've never heard of Meathead Movers. This is a new guest, and a new thing. Some it may be a bit redundant, but I want to get some bit of your story out that may be new to some people. I read in some of the notes that you were a junior in high school or in junior high school when you first started this.
Yeah, I was a junior at San Luis Obispo High School, and started the business as a way to make money while putting myself through school, playing sports, and fell in love with it. Loved the gratitude we got from our customers who were adults, and I was still an adolescent, and being able to create value and employ my friends and get paid to work out. It was like perfect for me.
It had all the bells and whistles right at the start of it. Now, did you ever imagine, I mean, you've probably been asked this before, but here you are, parents like mine made me earn my money. If I wanted to go do things, keep the car going, be involved in all the activities. Did you ever imagine that it would just grow to this point?
I thought we'd be able to grow faster, to be honest. It was clear to me after hearing the first 50 or so clients that I helped move, how big of a problem there was in the moving industry. The moving industry is riddled with just other moving companies who employ people who really shouldn't be trusted in the home, and then by us surely just trying to do a good job, doing the right thing, stand behind our work and taking care of our employees and not stealing their things and not changing the price unexpectedly on our clients, that put us head and shoulders above other typical moving companies. So I felt like it was our duty to provide a trustworthy and ethical moving service to the moving industry. What other industries do they coin horror moving stories? Like the moving industry is riddled with terrible things that happen from the moving industry. There's websites like movingscam.com. So it's like, wow, if me and my friends and my brother could just like figure out a way to try to do right by our customers, try to do right by our employees, and like blow our clients away, that really amazes me. And because I'm a student athlete and team captain of the wrestling team,
competitive, right?
Yeah, like we could talk to other student athletes. We can employ them, the people who have similar values as us. And there's no reason why we can't quickly take over the moving industry like we did in San Luis Obispo and do that in other areas.
So early on, you caught that vision.
Yeah.
And really worked towards making that happen, because that was the fuel. What I'm hearing, that was the fuel, your passion to deliver not just good service, but the best service.
Well, our clients kept telling us over and over how terrible their other moves were, and I hope that doesn't offend anyone, but it's true. Most other moving companies look at I don't want them in my house.
Aaron, we had that happen with Slow Talk. We had a veterans podcast series that we did, Veterans Voices. Lieutenant Colonel from Camp Roberts had Ford Motor Company come in. They were so concerned. They wanted to, they eventually they were a sponsor right away, but the decision making was how automobiles was factored in for the very apparent reason that has such a strong connection to shisty, pushy. Yeah. And when I told him that I grew up in the auto business, he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, my dad was a mechanic and he got promoted." And I said, "There's a lot of involvement." And then the lieutenant colonel, chimed in and said, "We do a nonprofit with falconry to help vets with PTSD, and we bought a bunch of." He says, "I'm going to write a check." And so they understand you're not trying to push something, you're living it.
Yeah.
And then
Well, it's really about service, isn't it? Service, and it's about giving people a comfort level. I did own a moving company when I was in my 30s, by the way. I forgot to say that. Wow. we did offices, and it was really hard. We had to go out there and say, "Hey, look, we're going to flip those desks and get them on four-wheel trolleys, and we're going to move this thing quick." Okay. And so it is about service and giving comfort. So I get that, and then the gratitude around it and giving back. Yeah. So I really commend you guys.
And then trust you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then a team. And so I think those are really key elements. You establish the trust, but to keep that trust going, you establish a team again and again. That's a big part of who you are today and how you started. Athletes that are motivated, able to do the work, and then drug-free.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but the first 3 or so years of us having Meathead Movers, we told the clients, "Pay us whatever you think we're worth," because we were young. We were called meatheads. The client would have to rent the truck. In high school, they'd have to pick us up at our parents' house and take us to their home. So it was kind of inconvenient to use us. But I told them, "Look, we're going to do such a good job. Yeah. We're going to really care about moving your things safely. We're going to make this a fun experience. We're going to jog with not carrying anything. We're going to get this job done faster so you have more time to unpack or go to that dinner that you want. And I'm so confident you'll be happy with us. Pay us whatever you think we're worth. If we damage something, if you don't like the service, just don't pay us anything. It's fine. But I know you will." And so it's
that's what they heard up front.
Yeah, that's what they heard up front. And we did that for the first couple years. And and I would just split the money with my friends and my brother equally, because I was used to not surviving on much, and I just wanted to do right by them because I knew what it was like being a struggling student athlete.
And this is carried on. I mean, when I hear people, Taylor Kim, who's the director, I think, of digital media strategies.
Yeah, he's great.
Taylor Kim, his team attitude and how he's inspired others and just tied in his basketball energy into some of the stuff. I guess that would be a profile that would fit many other profiles, other stories that you could say. My son, we mentioned before we came in the air, this just comes to my mind.
State champ.
Our oldest son, state wrestling champ, Charlie Davis. Charlie, if you're watching, we're sending love out to you today. But he was a student athlete.
Yeah.
He had graduated, went to the Air Force Academy, ended up helping with the wrestling team in SLO and working with Meathead Movers.
Yeah.
And so it met his needs. He was there helping and had a job, and so it was a good fit.
Yeah.
You've seen 25 years, a lot of those Charlie Davises or people come through.
Well, there's not a lot of state champs out there. There's, I think 1,400 high schools in California, and there's only one division. So to be a California high school state champ is a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's really, really cool.
Now, you've had some success in wrestling during that period of time. Could you share that with our audience?
That was a long time ago.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. But, yeah, I mean, I was on the freestyle Greco national team when I was in high school, state finalist, and wrestled Cuesta for a year.
Wow.
Won the Western State Conference there. And then decided to go into mixed martial arts for a little bit. Had 3 professional fights under Chuck Liddell, which was a really great experience.
Wow.
And then I took 16 years off from competing. Was 60 pounds heavier than I was today. Super unhealthy. And then had some pretty dramatic life changes 4 or so years ago. Yeah, 4.5 years ago.
Really?
Yep. And decided to get back into jiu-jitsu, which has turned into a massive part of my life.
I see that leading up to a championship recently.
3 weeks ago, I won the U.S. Open at Purple Belt, which I'm super stoked and grateful about.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really?
And last year I won the national championship at Blue Belt too, so that was cool. But yeah, we got a great competitive squad here, Paragon, and just a great group of brothers there.
Give a shout out to Paragon. I see their name all over.
Yeah, they're great people.
And again, you mentioned brothers, that teamhood, and you've carried that on in your life, in your business, and in the community. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is exciting. Martha, any questions that you have?
Well, I just have to. I think it's just what's coming up here is you've got the gratitude, because that's coming. I've heard that like 3 times since we've met each other, which has been brief, and then the team, how important the team is, and carrying that value, again, another value. So I mean, it just shows from where that started from a very young age. So who would you say put that into your heart or put that into you? Where did you get that drive and that that passion? Where do you find that at a young age?
Did you have any mentors, Aaron? Anybody that helped shape? I mean, coaches or certain people that stick out?
I've had so many mentors.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think one of my strengths is knowing how unintelligent I am in so many different areas. I look to everyone for guidance and mentorship. I'm constantly looking for a better way to do things. I constantly look for, moments of inspiration by people with what I'm seeing, what I'm reading, what I'm when I'm engaging with, with folks.
That's just a part of the way you live your life. Do you think that happened during those formative sports, wrestling? Is that when that all gelled during that process, or?
I don't really know. I think part of it is just kind of like I am who I am. I kind of can't help it, for better or for worse. But also I grew up wanting a lot more than what I had, and growing up in San Luis Obispo and seeing so many of my friends with, going on lots of happy family vacations and having the cool clothes and being able to go on just have like a different lifestyle that I really, really wanted. I was hell bent on having the life that I wanted, and I was absolutely certain that I was going to do whatever I needed to do in order to have the life that I saw, that I wanted, that I didn't have. And I was, I guess, like kind of pissed that I wasn't didn't have the things that I wanted growing up. Not to like bag on my folks or anything, but San Luis was a pretty affluent area, and I think a lot of kids had a lot more fun than I did.
I saw, to relate, I saw some of that in school in the San Francisco Bay Area. I grew up, and they would sing. They did this crazy thing. I don't know if anybody here has ever seen this, or some of our viewers or listeners on this, but they would sing in first grade, second grade, Sally's got new shoes. And I remember being about 5 or 6 whatever, and looking around, and some of the other kids didn't have new shoes.
Yeah.
And I thought about that at that age, right? And of course, I've always been involved in community stuff, but I think some of those seeds were planted because I saw my mom and dad give to certain needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it sounds materialistic and it doesn't sound like real, like altruistic, but no, that's the truth.
Yeah.
But you're willing to work for it, and then you're very humble around it. So that, I mean, that has a lot behind it. It's not like I want that and I'm going to have it. There's no entitlement that I'm hearing.
Oh, well,
and
no,
so you're
definitely
willing to
work
work,
for
and then
it.
you're
Yeah.
willing to give service and
Thank
give
you.
back at the same time. So that that has a full circle to it, actually.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and I definitely work hard and still work hard.
I was
love
going to
working
say,
hard.
it
Yeah.
seems like your expectations, I mean, you have a team, you have a company, an expanding company.
Yeah.
You can share some of the stats about one of the fastest growing companies
Yeah.
in Fortune 500. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
With that, people see a guy that challenges himself. You don't just challenge others.
Yeah.
So you practice what you preach. That's just part of who Aaron is.
Yeah.
Like you said, this is me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got fat and lazy. I'm not going to lie. I was 60 pounds heavier than I was 4 years ago. And there was a slow lead up to that. I was seeking comfort, heavy foods, and just like looking to celebrate all the time and, doing really well financially and thought I was on top of the world. But like, I was actually miserable inside and wasn't feeling good about myself. And because I like feeling disciplined, I like challenging myself. I like working my way out of situations. And maybe it's kind of sick, but like it's just the times where I've felt the most confident, like was wrestling season growing up in my formative years when I'm like training for a goal, the state championships or the national championships. And then it's like, and then when I'm like relaxing, it feels good for a little bit, but not for long, It's just kind of complacent. And I don't know.
Ben, that's a contrast, right?
Yeah.
So you had the drive, you succeeded, you got what did you say, lazy a little bit?
I did,
and then you got
physically,
miserable because
yeah.
you're happy and you're sitting on going, hey, this isn't working for me.
Right.
And then you turned it back around and then stepped up again for yourself. And that takes a lot, but that came from your early times to going forward.
Yeah, I think so. It's like I had to retort back to what helped my formative years of going from like a boy to a man, like with developing sports and trying to revisit that in my middle ages now, it's and I'm stoked that I have the opportunity to do it and to be 42 and to be a competitive athlete, and to
I was going to ask, how old are you now?
Yeah,
Thank
42,
you.
yeah.
It goes back to, I want to give a shout out to all of our viewers, all the folks that help make the sports and the arts happen in our
Yes,
schools.
totally.
Some of our
Absolutely.
local high schools, SLO High, Mission Prep.
Coaches are heroes, man.
Coaches are heroes. I had a
For
younger
sure.
brother that was a coach, and I'd see kids walk up to him, Coach Jeff, 10, 15, 20 years after he's impacted their lives. So the sports and the arts, in your case, sports in many cases bowl through the arts. In my case, scouts, community involvement was so essential to being here.
Yeah.
The challenges, the deadlines. They even say with college degrees that it's not always the degree itself, but the discipline of getting that degree, juggling all those things. So this brings us full circle to young people that work with Meathead Movers that get a job. Are there some that started working and stayed on, Aaron, just because it worked out? I want to hear a little bit about that, because in my mind, you go to a few classes, you're here for a couple of years, boom. What about those that stay with you? How did that happen?
Well, I think we have an advantage over all other companies as we're able to see who our athletes really are, who gets promoted, what kind of customer service do they have, how disciplined are they, what kind of leaders are they, and then we get to kind of cherry pick the best employees for our administrative team. It leads to a highly competitive, driven, battle-tested type individual that works out really well for our culture. Rarely do people who have been successful in the field not work on the administrative side, because they know who we are, what we're all about, and we take the simple philosophy of creating clarity, strategy, and accountability for the team. And
Clarity, strategy, accountability. Those three things.
Yep. Boom. In the on the labor force, and then apply that, in the office to the best of our ability, and it is works pretty good.
Actually, in your business model as well.
Yeah.
I mean, how would that
totally.
not work?
Yeah.
Clarity, strategy, and
And if you focus as a leader on those three things, if you're operating within those quadrants of providing clarity, strategy, and accountability for your team, if you are doing one of those things at all times with the people that you're working with, then it puts it all into focus, I think.
I like the in-house promotion, progression, competition thing, because I feel like when we're challenged, we bring out our best. If you said it on a personal level, I have experience when you, for whatever reason, get fat and happy, lazy, in whatever areas. And I think back the last couple of years, and I'd like to touch a little bit about, the last 2 or 3 years we call the COVID period or whatever. In a lot of lives, I don't want to diminish the challenges, but I also don't want to miss how some of the constrictions like streaming. Streaming is now, what we're doing right now, much more prevalent, much more easy. Folks are much more, 3 years ago you said a Zoom meeting. What the heck now? Right. There are people that don't even do podcasts that have done many more Zooms at work. So the tables have turned. For your company, for Meathead Movers, what was the toughest things going into COVID? How did you adapt, and what's it like now? Did you learn anything through that period of time? Either Don or Aaron.
Yeah, sure.
Got the privilege of having the marketing team here.
I'll let Aaron take it away, but I'm happy to jump in. There was a lot of hurdles.
Right.
Yeah, no,
that was a challenge for you as well, Don. Like, what am I going to do with this now? And keep this thing going.
Yeah, well, Aaron can go into it, but I'll just say in the very beginning when we were trying to figure things out, right in March, he's thinking, what do we need to do with the team? What do we need to do with the marketing team? Do we need to downsize it? Do we need to dial back our marketing? And he realized immediately, a week in, he was like, we need to up our marketing. Nice. We need to ensure that our customers are confident in the work that we're doing and our team is communicated to properly so that they're comfortable in the situation.
More engagement.
Yeah. So Aaron and I worked very closely together through COVID. But talk about what your thoughts were.
I mean, it was kind of we hit it on all different angles. One, internally with the team, we started creating weekly address videos where we're giving stats on COVID. We're talking about all the changes that we made. We're recognizing the good sort of behaviors. It created areas within our management team where there was friction. All that just immediately had to go away. Never has there been a business environment where you had to make more decisions quickly on a dime than during COVID. We have hundreds of employees all over. We're putting people in the truck, close proximity, and then in clients' homes. Like, oh my gosh.
So the discussion was like almost overnight.
Yes,
now
we had to change it.
Yes.
And then what was so crazy was it was like the phones just turned off. The world was so weird, and
which is not normal for you guys. That's
right. No, because no one wanted to move. Everything froze.
And then Cal OSHA comes down with a bunch of stuff, right?
Yep.
Gosh.
Don't even go back.
I have a little PTSD about that.
Yeah. Take a deep breath, Don.
Yeah. So 75. So imagine this: within a week's time, 75% of our pending services all cancel. The phone basically stops. Everyone. 75%.
3/4 of your business.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because everyone's scared. No one knows what to do. People think if they go outside, they're going to die.
That's pretty much the tone, right?
Yeah.
That was the message.
Right. And this is
loud and clear.
This is no diss on anybody that may have suffered or died or had. But they had the projection that I thought, and other people have vocalized this. People literally thought in San Luis Obispo, very open, great weather. March, April, nobody outside. I live real close to downtown. They thought the virus was going to chase him down with a pair of Nike tennis shoes or something. It was really not to diminish the risk factor, but it was just crazy.
Well, and from my perspective, it was even worse in the larger, more metropolitan areas. At this point, only 20% of our business actually derives from San Luis Obispo County. Right? Yeah, the vast majority of our business is in larger metropolitan areas.
What are those areas? Could you touch on the different sites right now?
Yeah, Southern. It's all just Southern California and Central California is where the other 6 locations are. But I charted out all right, what are we going to do? We have all these people who want to work. Most of them were still down to work. Probably about 10% wanted to take time off and hunker down. And then I have all these trucks, and I have a giant overhead that needs to be fed. So I was cold calling Walmart, Amazon. I was thinking, can we become a truck delivery service? I thought moving was just going to be done. I thought people were going to try to hide for who knows for how long people are going to be quarantining. But I can't afford to not have movement or be generating revenues. And then all of a sudden, within about like 2.5, 3 months, then we just had unprecedented demand where it wasn't a matter of selling jobs. It was a matter of just staffing them. And then we had a difficult time staffing them because not enough people wanted to work.
And this was in all, was this in all the markets that you're in? You saw that increase come back?
Yeah.
So priming the pump engagement, and all of a sudden this wave of, now has that diminished at all, that level?
Oh, yeah. I would say probably around April, May, we started noticing a significant softening in the market. I mean, everything you're reading and I'm sure are aware of with like the housing data, we're totally feeling that. Our business is directly affected by it. Unfortunately, luckily we're outperforming it, but it is it's a significant downward turn in home sales, and obviously that means less moving.
Right, but we were in another market that was just unreal because people were able to live and work at home.
Yeah.
So they were moving from San Francisco. There was a big influx coming into the Central Coast.
There was like an exodus of California too. So we did more long distance moving than we had ever done before.
Right. And they're all moving here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, being that we're in almost December, here we are on the 30th of November. You guys just said, I saw a video on Facebook about an outreach that happened. I forget the specific names. Maybe Dawn or Aaron could both fill us in. But something about groceries being purchased for folks that just don't have enough food.
Yeah.
What was that all about? And tell us a little bit about the outcome of that.
Yeah. Well, it's so important for us to get back to our communities. Like Aaron said, we're not booming as a business right now, but that's never going to stop our efforts to support the community when we can. So we were thinking, can we do some social media advertising around this time of year, a few $100s behind some posts to get some more jobs for our movers. But instead, we said, let's do something that will directly impact somebody this year. So we said we were going to spend $500 on a social media ad campaign, but instead let's have the community nominate a person who is in need of additional help right now, like a lot of people are, and give that $500 to them to fill the box. So we got tons of people nominating people who deserved it. They would share a story. We ended up finding a gal, Judy Sandoval, and she is very connected to her community in the food bank. So she came out, she filled up a whole Meathead moving box full of groceries at the grocery store.
Oh, she's the one that I saw in the video with Taylor.
Yep, she was in the video, and so she made a ton of care packages and delivered care packages with like high protein meals to people throughout Thanksgiving. So it was really cool to just like shift that use of funds to a place that makes us as a company, feel like we're doing something good in the community.
But it's about that, isn't it?
Totally,
it's about contributing and bringing back, because what you give in, give out, whatever is.
Exactly.
But if you don't give out, if you don't contribute.
Yeah. Well, when I told Aaron the idea, I texted it to him, and he said, "This is where we should be spending our money. Let's do it."
And I can what a switch, though.
Yeah.
The typical thing, dump some money. I mean, it's almost like automatic, right? Weekly campaigns or monthly. In fact, they are automated spends.
Yes.
Stop that. Go, let's make a shift, which is important, but the significance on that individual family and the repercussions of that, that's powerful. And then a little bit more talking about the holidays, going into some of the elderly facilities and doing some caroling in the homes.
Yeah.
Tell us, have you guys participated in that also?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, basically just during the holidays, put some Santa hats on our on our meatheads, and then we go in with like the most generic jingle bells, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and we just sing. And our guys are terrible. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we're not good singers, but
no tuning up.
No,
but they can move well.
They can move well. Yeah, but singing, and it's actually hilarious. You just give it your all. But we go to these assisted living residences, all over and everywhere that we are. It's just like part of what we do. And at like lunchtime, it's a set lunchtime that we go to these senior homes and we do these songs and they just love it, and they dig it up. And at first it's like just painfully so awkward. It's so weird.
Get into it.
And then they get into it, and then the seniors are like, they love it. And then that gives them more confidence. Everyone's awkward at first, and then they're just like gushing and blushing.
So
and
cool.
and then and what's neat is then for the rest of the year, the folks that work at the assisted living residences, just recommend us so much business because they're like, hey, if these guys are willing to come sing to us, because they're trying to figure out ways to keep their people
Off-key, no
entertained,
less.
you know? Yeah, exactly.
Talk about organic.
Yeah.
That's fun though for,
Yeah.
for the
Organic.
team to go in and see the response of this
Yes.
bright light. Santa's got this unique, whether you believe it or not, Santa's got something going on there.
It's true.
Where I remember when I worked at a care home up in the Central Valley, and they would bring one of the guys, his dad would dress up the full Santa, the really good beard, the leather belt, not the cheap one, the really good one. His dad actually hit a mantle decorating the tree, died.
Oh my gosh.
And so Tom Spur, who's a good friend of mine up in the Central Valley, would dress up. He'd be in the care home, but he would come and visit some of the homes. And my grandmother happened to be with us. We saw, about at that time, an 80-year-old woman revert back into a 6-year-old and just melt.
Nice.
When Santa Claus knocked on the door, I just saw her in a whole different light. Now, replicate that to the whole care home. I've had the experience of doing that. It is magic. Now, I don't sing that well either, and I did do some caroling, but I think once it gets going, you see, they say in public speaking, the best thing to do is think about who you're reaching.
Right.
That's what did it for
It's
me.
not about you, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And what a great lesson for the ones you have working for you,
Yes.
because it totally gets them out of their comfort level.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're going to be living that the rest of their life.
Yes.
And say,
Hope so.
oh, I remember when I had to sing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Off
totally.
key.
getting out of comfort level. Now, I want to talk about something that's
Yeah.
going to be streaming, right, really soon.
Okay.
Just around the corner, you guys on December 13th,
Yeah.
tell us, I've heard bits and pieces.
Uh-huh.
I saw some videos of prior competitions. Meathead Olympics
Yeah.
2022. What's
Yeah.
that all about?
This
you
is
guys?
a big deal. This is like big bragging rights at Meathead. Who's gonna be
Yeah.
who's the strongest one? We had competitions at each of our locations where they did a series of different events, and this is something that's been requested that we do for a super long
Nice.
time.
So this will be
And
the first one.
This is the
Yes.
first one, and the guys that won it on a branch level are going to be competing December 13th. I'll let Dawn take it away because really she has put by far the most amount of effort into all of this. She's coordinated all of it.
Yes, me, Taylor, and Aaron. It's been quite a mission. We went all the way up and down the state to our 6 locations, and like Aaron said, they hashed it out. We got 6 winners, so we're bringing all the 6 winners here. We invited all of our employees, alumni, friends of the company. They're going to come
Nice.
out and watch them do a series of 10 competitions. We got sponsors too, so there's going to get like
this is
a big
exciting.
cash prize from our sponsors, a big belt, and really just the bragging rights, like Aaron said. And the branches are competitive. You know, they're like Bakersfield's going down. You know, so that they can hear it.
So you've been hearing this posturing.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
and the,
Totally. So
Yeah.
it's just so good for like culture and just fun. I mean, we
And
love
team
watching
building,
it.
right?
Team building.
I mean, it's
totally.
going to bring in all your
Yeah.
offices together,
Totally.
and
Yeah.
it's
Sales is
awesome.
coming out. Accounting, marketing
Oh,
will
this
all
is-
be there.
this is
to
fun.
cheer.
having their favorites.
Tuesday night,
Tuesday
the
night.
13th.
Yes, we will be streaming live on our social media channels. So
Nice.
Facebook and Instagram will be streaming live, and then there will be a recap of the event on YouTube.
So it'll be Instagram Live,
Yes.
recap of the event on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
So if folks are looking for that.
Yes.
In fact, let's talk a little bit right now. What a great time for folks to get their phones out and just,
Yes,
connect.
follow us.
Follow on, let's go through it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yep.
The latest one, you guys have a YouTube channel.
We
Did we
do.
miss any? Twitter?
We're also on LinkedIn and Twitter.
LinkedIn and Twitter?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we've got a good presence
Yeah,
there.
I saw
but-
you guys on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I caught up with you yesterday on Twitter. So, all
good,
right.
good. Yeah, we're
All
all
right.
over.
This is fun. Talking about the holidays and a lot of the happy things. The other side of that coin is the tough times. We talked a little bit about that. You mentioned some of the families are hurting with a tough year and seeing the softening of business. I mentioned a little bit before we started live streaming a close friend calling me yesterday and having a relative, a close relative, who is a victim of some domestic violence, been going on about a year. Now it's culminated right during Thanksgiving, having to flee the house, locks changed. Just a really touchy situation, multiple kids. And so as that story just came to me personally, I thought about a couple of things, Aaron and Dawn. I thought about how somehow at some point domestic violence got your attention.
Mm-hmm.
You helped found an organization I'd like you to talk about. We have a video to show a little bit about that I want to have you introduce. but just how you challenged, I think, all three parts of the story and what the impact is. And if you could share that with us, Aaron, I'd appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah. Heart goes out to your friend. It's a terrible thing to experience. And the first couple years of Meathead, I answered every single call, and periodically I'd get calls, mostly from women who were shaky voices saying, now's my opportunity to get out. I've had enough. I don't have any money, but I'll give you my TV. I'll give you my new leather couch, whatever. But I have to get out. Will you help me? I can't take this another time. He's on a business trip. He's on a fishing trip. This is my time to get out. So me and my friends would go over there and we'd help him out and not charge him or anything. And then a couple months later, boom, get a similar call. A couple months later, boom, get a similar call. Growing up in San Luis Obispo, it's like, wait, what? There's domestic violence here? This place is so nice. What's going on? It's crazy is that it's everywhere. So then finally in Morro Bay one time, we're doing another one of these moves, and the guy came home and tried getting super confrontational and started throwing things, and the cops...
Right while your team was there helping the individual.
Yeah, we were there. I was there. And the cops got called, and no one was hurt, luckily. I guess it's like super common for their cops are... Domestic violence calls are the most dangerous calls for cops to respond to, And then I just realized, I'm like, geez, we got to, one, we have to continue to do these moves because they're like needed. And then two, we need to figure out a safer way. So we then knocked on the door of the San Luis Obispo Women's Shelter.
Great organization.
Yeah. And they changed their name.
Lumina Alliance.
Yeah.
Same kind of founding people. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. And basically said, hey, we want to continue to do this, but can we kind of ride your coattails of your safety protocols? And they were elated. And I said, great. So whenever we get these calls, we're going to send them to you. Then you're going to offer your raise services. And then you'll make sure that it's safe for my team and I to go in and do the moving. They're like, okay, awesome. And we just decided to make this our thing. And offer unlimited free moving services to any victim who's fleeing an abusive home.
Is this in all the communities that you work in?
Yeah, we do this for 9 different shelters.
And so you collaborate with an organization that's already involved.
Yeah.
You make sure protocols are followed, everybody's protected, but there is a teamwork not just within your organization, this is teamwork in the community to meet some needs.
Yeah, the local domestic violence shelter, and there's always a domestic violence shelter. We team up with them. We pick one, and we figure out if we can have a working relationship, and they love it, and it works for us. And I'm proud to say, we've been doing this ever since we started. We haven't had one situation go haywire. We've had the cops show up plenty of times, but luckily it hasn't been a bad thing. And I think it sets a really good precedent for our employees of like, hey, real men don't hit women, like acts of service are important. This is how you help people, is find other ways to help people. It feels, it feels good.
Real men. Let's repeat that. I think it's important. And I saw those logos in that campaign, and it's so real men don't hit women. They learn to work through problems, not take it out through violence.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. It's like, and it's a barbaric behavior. We need to move past that as a civilization.
I want to challenge. Actually, no, you. Heck with me challenging people, Aaron. I want to acknowledge how maybe you can share that. I want to draw that out of you. You have challenged other business owners, people in your shoes across the nation. This has turned into a movement. In fact, the organization. In fact, this would be a great way to introduce the video. Okay. Because we heard the story. Yeah. It's called Move to End Domestic Violence.
Yeah. Nice.
Tell us how that started. Well, we heard how it started, right?
Sure. Well, what happened? So we've just been doing these moves quietly, and then the LA Times or Weekly.
It was the LA Weekly.
The LA Weekly got a hold of the story in 2015.
Yeah.
And it went bonkers viral. It went. We were on the Today Show. We were on CNN. We were published in over 100 different publications for 6 months. 80% of my job was just doing interviews because it just caught fire. This story of a moving company offering unlimited help to victims of domestic violence. And during that time, we were approached by hundreds of other businesses from across the world that said, hey, I want to do something similar. What should I do? It's like,
Wow.
Look within. How can you donate your products and services to help a victim fleeing an abusive relationship, either that has before they left or during the transition or in the process of rebuilding their life? Or how can your product or service help enhance the value offering to a domestic violence shelter or cut the cost of a domestic violence shelter? It doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter like what industry you're in. If you're in the security business, offer free security cameras. If you're a handyman, offer free handyman help to the different shelters. If like no matter what your product or service is, you don't have to just write a check for philanthropy. You can incorporate, you can embed philanthropy deep into your business model by helping local people who are trying to rebuild their life from domestic violence or the shelter itself. So what Move to NDV is about, it's a call to action. It's like, let us, if you're inspired by this idea of this moving company doing this thing, then what can you do?
I love it.
Right.
And not necessarily in those lanes, but whatever area of outreach.
Yeah.
Like Slow Talk has a calling to shine the spotlight on culture, commerce, community.
Yeah.
My gosh, food, the needs in our community, mental illness, housing, and another big one, the substance abuse in our community.
that's huge.
The overdose rate. A lot of people viewing this today have no idea, but right here in beautiful San Luis Obispo, I love living here.
Right.
We have the Slow Good Life, which, a whole nother brand. Fourth highest overdose rate in the whole state right here in our
big.
backyard.
Really?
The fourth
Yes.
highest overdose rate. We have a real personal story with Slow Talk that maybe we'll get into sometime, how that affected us, but that's just part of a responsibility. We have a microphone. We're getting the word out. I'm excited today, passionate about your opportunity to challenge other businesses, but also let others that are in need know that Meathead Movers is here for you in these different cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to encourage you right now, if you're watching, get on your phone, Google Meathead Movers, and the name of that organization that you helped found, the Move to End Domestic Violence.org.
Move to NDV.
MoveToNDV.org.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, and then since then, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence has adopted it as part of their umbrella of services, which we're really grateful and proud of and stoked about, that they can offer a national level. They're the primary advocacy agency for domestic violence. It helps shape policy, and they're now managing it. So we were able to start and then pass it on.
What I like, Aaron, is that you can teach people what they can do.
Yeah.
You're in the moving, you got this, but what resource can you give out that
Right.
you can do? We are in some kind of commerce. We're all doing something that we can take something from ours, whatever we're doing, and hand it. And you have given a model to say, this is how we do it. This is how it's done. This is where you can pull your resources and where they need to go. So it's nice that the people can check into this website that you have, and they can learn, and you can lead that as a leader. And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do. And what a great tie-in. I'd like to, for our viewers right now, to stream this video that we have. And this is on the Today Show, I believe.
Yes.
And opportunity, just because you put your hand to the plow, Aaron, and your team, this is an organic outcropping of good works.
And Don, too.
And absolutely.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Right. Hey, Don.
This morning on Hope to It, helping victims of domestic violence.
The statistics are staggering. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been victims of some form of physical violence from a partner.
Yeah, fear, denial, financial worries can prevent a person from escaping an abusive situation. But one moving company is making it a little easier for victims to pack up and go.
In January of 2016, 34-year-old Angela decided to move homes, not to gain more space or a better view, but to save her life.
I started in a relationship with someone that I thought was wonderful, and I was over the moon about, and a few months into it, everything changed. There was a lot of verbal abuse, and the relationship eventually became physical, to the point where he tried to kill me one night by breaking into my home.
A local women's shelter put Angela in touch with Meathead Movers, helping Angela and her son move out of their home free of charge.
One of the most comforting things was they knew my situation, not into details, but they knew why they were moving me, and they never treated me like a different type of customer.
The guys who showed up weren't your typical movers. They were 20-something student athletes.
It's a very fulfilling experience and feeling, being able to help somebody who is desperately in need.
Brothers Aaron and Evan Steed were also student athletes when they started their moving business 19 years ago. They called it Meathead because that's how they acted around the locker room.
We needed to figure out a way to make ends meet. Luckily, people hated moving so much that they were willing to pay us and pay us well to do it.
A few years into their business, more serious calls came in.
When we would receive a phone call from a panicked person looking to flee a situation, we would literally just jump in the truck and drive straight over. And as you can imagine, after 3 or 4 instances of that occurring, the worst case scenario happened with the abuser coming home in the middle of that move.
Since that incident, they've partnered with 9 women's shelters in California.
When Meathead Movers came in and made this offer to the agency, it was huge. It gives clients the ability to make this move and have a successful transition into the community.
I've had clients come up to us after the move and said, had I known you would have moved me out of there, I would have gotten out of hell years ago.
Last year, they created a campaign to end domestic violence, asking other companies to follow their lead.
We have 153 pledges from businesses all over the world. The more we're talking about it and the more people know that there is an army of businesses that have rallied together that are willing to embrace victims of domestic violence in their community, that takes all the power away from the abusers.
A movement that helps women like Angela know they're not alone.
Very grateful for Meathead Movers, just from stress-free to people who just genuinely care.
What a fantastic company doing such good work. So far, more than 150 companies have pledged to get involved with Meathead Movers' Move to End Domestic Violence campaign. So for more info on how you can help, head to today.com.
All right, we're back in the studio here with Aaron Steed, CEO, President, Meathead Movers and Storage, and also Don Ventura, Director of Marketing Communications. We've just had, this has been a very rich afternoon. And,
very much so.
Yeah, very much so on many levels. Gosh, something I'm curious about, Aaron. Make sure that my laptop is turned off. Hate to hear a beep on the live stream, but something I'm really curious about. Martial arts, you got involved in it, got re-involved in it. What does that mean? Maybe you can talk about how you got interested and what does that mean in your life? Or how the benefits of that for you, man.
So I was in the hospital for 11 or 12 days in 2018 because I had to remove part of my lower intestine because I think just like stress and lifestyle, just wasn't working out for me. And my dear friends brought me a book called Can't Hurt Me from David Goggins.
Nice.
And while reading that book, after every chapter, there's a mission. And one of the missions was find, at what point in your life were you able to happily and willingly exert the most amount of effort towards the thing, towards anything in your life? Like, what was the hardest thing you've ever done happily was the question. And for me, I was like, oh, that was wrestling, right? And it clicked. I'm like, okay, well, when my stitches heal up and my stomach is back right, I'm going to start doing jujitsu. Because that's basically like old man wrestling.
you did it. Yeah. You answered my question. Yeah. Tell folks
old man wrestling.
What MMA or jiu-jitsu is. Oh,
let's all get inspired by that.
Hashtag old man wrestling. Yeah, include that.
And,
that's funny.
At 42, everyone.
It's submission wrestling. It's wrestling with submissions, and there's a gi, so it's a lot slower pace, and you can grab onto and control the place. Or there's also no gi as well. And there are people in their 70s that are at Paragon that are doing it, and anywhere from kids and everywhere and anywhere in between, So then I started, and it's been quite a journey, to say the least.
This has been for you as a student athlete. national, competition. Revisiting things.
Yeah.
What came with that? Like a renewed desire to stay disciplined? How did that manifest in your life?
I just knew that I needed it. I took a picture when I was laid up in my hospital bed of my view for what I looked at for 11, 12 days, however long it was. And I kept it as my screensaver for really the last 3 years. I changed about a year ago to my wife, but but I wanted to remind myself to never let myself go back to that place. I hated being unhealthy. I hated feeling unhappy. I hated getting soft. And I knew that if I were to compete in jiu-jitsu, which is like pretty similar to wrestling, that there's just like no way I would be unhealthy. It would help me become like mentally and physically and cardiovascularly fit.
And so now this is what we're seeing.
And I absolutely love it. It's so honest. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what family you're from, what kind of education you have. I'm out there scrapping with millionaires and convicts. Construction workers and cops.
It's a leveling
I'm
field.
there scrapping with people who grow weed and people who do it. Like I am like it doesn't matter. It's personal. A lot of women do it too.
Nice.
You know.
Oh, you do it, Don? Yay for you.
Hardly, but he did peer pressure me into doing a class.
People tend to do that when they get involved in MMA, right? They tend to
peer pressure
challenge. It's part of it, right?
Totally.
So I got involved. I mean, I got challenged by my son. My son's buddy, the dad. I thought, oh my gosh, I kind of did it just to shut him up. But then I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. Why is that?
Why am I glad I did it?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I did it when I was 205 pounds.
Wow.
And it was before I lost all the weight.
Yep.
And I'll tell the story in a future podcast. I had a heart attack in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've got my story inside here, and the why. Actually, it was 2014. It was 8 years ago. Right about this time of the year. And I heard this morning that the vast amount of heart attacks happened the last 2 weeks of December.
Oh, interesting.
And if this is beneficial to anybody watching today that's struggling with stuff, go see your doctor. Don't put it off. I don't know why guys are a little bit reticent, Thank God women are a little bit more likely to go and to give an elbow to spouses, husbands, significant others. But
it's because we're dumb.
You know what? You make it so darn easy. I overthink it because we're dumb. You know what? I want to close
I'm not going to let you off that early.
I want to close this on a good note. I wrote down the word discouragement because it sounded like you were the poster child for discouragement. But you didn't stay in that hospital bed, and when you got out, you did something about it.
Yeah.
What can you say, Aaron, to people that may not be in a bed today, but in their life, they're kind of stuck? What can you say about that funk, and to break out? I know you shared a little bit about something that happened inside of you. What would you leave somebody with?
Yeah. It's a deep question. I think like you, I had a life event, a life event that landed me in the hospital for a long time. And I decided I'm never going to let myself, let that happen to myself again.
Wow.
And I don't like going to the gym. I don't particularly like getting on a treadmill and like exercising, but I really love to wrestle. Like, it's super fun to me. And so it's like,
you put that in.
Yeah, exactly. So like, what's something that you love doing that will, if we're talking about fitness, what's something that you love doing that also requires a lot of physical energy? Like, whether it's surfing, or some people love running or playing lacrosse. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Just adjust your speed and intensity level for your age.
Pickleball.
Yeah,
walking.
pickleball. Yeah, walking.
Pickleball's exploding.
I'm a horse girl, so I'm on my horse.
Equestrian horse.
Oh, yeah.
That's expensive.
I've got a good friend.
Air hockey.
Yeah. Whatever it is, whatever it is, you got to find something. You got to find something that you really, really love, so it becomes like part of your lifestyle. I think if you have to have a healthy lifestyle, because if you're going up and down because like you have to work out, so then you like work out but you don't really like working out, like it's just not gonna stick. At least it's not with me, because I'm not that disciplined.
Well, it's kind of like a job, isn't it? So you're going to say my well-being. Well, I have a good friend, and he's retired, and that's my job. I get up and I play tennis, and he has a regiment, but that's part of his work now.
Yep.
Yes.
And his work ethic and putting that forward, and you do have to put it. I like what you said is. In the book, it told you to go farther. We go a little step farther, and then be really honest with each other, yourself. I mean, authentically honest with ourselves. What do you want? Because I think that's what you learned, right?
Yes.
And then what do I love?
Yes.
And then that passion, because I see passion between both. I mean, we're all pretty passionate about what we do.
A lot of passion.
And we have to have that in order to get us to go forward and go that next step.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, guys, in these last few minutes, I just want to thank you, Martha, and I want to thank you for just coming in the studio, opening up your hearts and lives, your schedule. But beyond that, just the passion that's come out today, the stories, the why you do the things you do and who you do them for. And so much appreciate you, Aaron, Dawn, setting up this interview.
Very much.
Appreciate you too.
Yeah, so much. And
well, the room is vibrating. I'm going to tell you this. The vibration in here is like, woo.
It really is. We're leaving on a good note,
right? Yeah. And I'm sure Meathead Movers is going to bring that into the house where you guys are moving and bring this enthusiasm, passion, well taken care of, because you see the value of it.
And once again, on the 13th of December on the Meathead Movers YouTube channel,
Yes.
the very first Meathead Olympics.
That's right.
Somebody out of those 6 is going to be crowned the star, and they've got surprises and notoriety. Kind of like The Voice, you got to vote on and everything. All right.
Tune in.
Thank you guys. It's so much
you.
fun. I really enjoyed
All right,
meeting
you guys. Oh my gosh, this episode of Slow Talk Podcast is brought to you today by our friends at Dining for Charities. Check them out at diningforcharities.com. 15% of all your sales goes to local nonprofits, CASA, Woods Humane Society, and this month the Veterans Express Shuttle operated by Right On Transportation.
Giving it back.
And then Castillo's Carpet Cleaning. Great folks there. Check them out. Let me give a phone number for them because I didn't do that earlier. Mr. Castillo handles all this. 805-602-0101.
Get those glasses. Okay, but I think people can share what we're doing and what we're doing here. Can you tell us the more about that?
Yeah. Slow Talk Podcasting Studio. Slow Talk Live is our live streaming, shining the spotlight on culture, commerce, community. Slow Talk Podcasting is our business where we help others in the community develop, produce, record, distribute, and market podcasts and live stream content. We'll go on site to different events. Excited about that.
Super excited.
Yeah, and being able to do some music and on-site streaming. So if you have a need, if you want to represent your business in a very unique way, this is what we love to do. We're passionate about it. Give us a call at 805-234-5056. Check us out online at slowtalk.com. Right. We're represented on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the usual suspects. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Really
thank
pleasure.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too.
You too.
Yeah. All the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.